Every single time Rebecca Hall heads to Sundance, there has to be something special with the film. A couple years ago, we got The Night House, which was such a big surprise. Last year, we got Passing, which was a great directorial effort from her. And now we have her next acting effort, which is Resurrection. And I promise you, it's unlike anything that you've seen this year so far. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're discussing Resurrection. This is written and directed by Andrew Simmons, and it's about Margaret, whose life is in order. She's capable, disciplined, and successful. Everything is under control again. That is until David returns, carrying with him the horrors of Margaret's past. This stars the likes of Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth. Now, I was so excited for this just for the fact that Rebecca Hall was coming into this. I actually think that she is one of the most underrated actresses working right now. Every time she shows up in something, she absolutely goes bar none into some of the best stuff that she can possibly give. And I'm ready to say with this movie in particular, this might be her best performance of her entire career. She goes to the strengths and levels, like the psychological nature levels of Jake Gyllenhaal from Nightcrawler. Now, if you've seen Nightcrawler, you absolutely know the depths that he went into within that role. But there's just something special about her performance in here that was jaw-dropping, unhinged, unsettling at times, but psychologically messed up in so many different ways that I don't even know how she got to the place that she truly was. I truly believe she is the reason that this movie holds its own up there. Not to say that this is a bad movie. I have some cons with it, but seriously enough, her performance was the reason that I was so attached to this thing. I say that because there is a point in this movie where she gives almost a 10-minute monologue. And that entire 10 minutes, even though it's just her speaking, the tenseness in her face, the anxiety, the words coming from her, the way that she's carrying these words, her eyes, the stress, all of that bottled into one performance had me absolutely hinged into this one central moment where I could not look away from the screen. It was a phenomenal monologue and one of the best ones that I've seen in years. These are the type of monologues that actors or actresses study in schooling. And her performance in here, again, in that one moment and throughout the entire film, was just really unsettling, but fantastic. As well as Tim Roth, who's absolutely scary in this movie. And their dynamic with one another is very unique. And this is where I do kind of want to sideline to one of my cons, because it's hard to talk about the entire film without really much talking about the con. As you're watching this movie, it takes a lot for you to sit there. And this is one of those movies that I feel like you're into it until the ending. And either the ending's going to work for you or it's not. Now, on a first watch of this, because now the more and more I think about it, the more and more I actually kind of want to rewatch it for some reason. So maybe I missed certain elements of the ending and certain things maybe I didn't pick up on, because I think there's a lot to maybe study within this movie. And I think that's why the script and the direction is actually really strong. But on a personal opinion, the first watch, I didn't dig the ending. I found that the ending, and again, as I'm watching the movie, I sat there knowing this whole entire film is going to hinge on how this ending is. And without getting into spoilers, the ending ends in a way where I'm like, I have a lot more questions than I do answers here. Because the movie's coming down and you're like, okay, I have all my answers. I'm expecting this is either going to go one way or the other. It's either going to go in this really weird way, or it's going to go in this, okay, more of the psychological answer, but I get it. And the way that it ends up going was more of the way of, okay, now I just have a ton of questions to how this is possible. For me, in those elements, that was the one particular thing that, again, can play onto the whole thing, because our main narrative is told from Rebecca Hall's character, who you can tell at times maybe is not in the right psychological natured way. And in a sense, maybe she is just going crazy. And I think that's something that we ask ourselves throughout the entire film. Maybe on another rewatch, I can maybe even in a sense believe that at some point. I'm still in the middle. Was she crazy? Was she not? There's so many questions that I have that I left and maybe I continue to think about. But again, on a first watch, I didn't love the ending. I found the ending was just a little bit too abrupt for me in its style. It doesn't go against Andrew Semmens' writing and directing. This is clearly a director and a writer who knew the exact story he wanted to tell with every single signal, land, and every single moment is a message needing to be told. You can't take your eyes off the screen. And this is a very powerful movie that while you do feel its entire runtime, it is one that settled with me even if I still am not fully engaged with the ending, and I do find certain moments to be slow, even if I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Weird, because I'm so mixed on certain elements of this movie. Like, there's moments that I absolutely loved in this, and then there's moments that just completely didn't work for me towards the end, and those are the ones that I can't talk about due to spoilers. If I'm being honest, Resurrection is one of those movies that maybe on a rewatch would very greatly improve my rating on this, or maybe even decline it. No going against Rebecca Hall, who gives an unhinged, incredible performance within Resurrection. One that should establish her as one of the best actresses working today, and she has just one of the monologues in this that completely had me glued to the screen. This film's ending, though, still has a lot for me to unpack, and I am really impressed to see what Andrew does next as a director and a writer. So with all that said, I'm going to give Resurrection a B+. Once again, guys, for watching this, you guys are seriously all the best. Make sure to leave a comment on what your guys' thoughts are on this movie. Hit that like and subscribe button, as well as head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. Once again, guys, thank you so much. And of course, until next time, stay classy.